better combination would there be than Deion getting to coach with his son in the same place? Because you can now take this and apply it to any team that has a top pick in the draft, that has a need for a quarterback, and a coaching question.
So, look, I've known Shefty for 20 years, and I call myself the Shefty whisperer sometimes. He usually does not engage in that sort of stuff, right? I mean, as you know, guys, you guys don't like to engage in that stuff. So if he's willing to go there, it's because he's hearing that this is a real, to me, he's hearing from places I don't know. I'm not reporting this, but my feeling is he is getting the sense that that is a real possibility.
I mean, it's out there, right? And I mean, Deion has actually talked publicly about trying to dictate where Shedeur ends up, which is pretty tricky when you're talking about the NFL draft. But
he should do it. I mean, it's a different conversation, but he should do it.
But to the extent that you can. But I think only Archie Manning has pulled it off, right? Like in terms of where Eli ended up. But the idea of Deion as a coach is what I think is intriguing, right? Like, I don't have a sense yet of how the NFL in general feels about Deion as a head coach prospect in the NFL. That said, it only takes one team, right? Like if he's the apple of someone's eye, then all of a sudden this becomes a realistic possibility. You have to admire what he's done. I mean, teams are always looking to hire program builders, and he has been that at the college level in two different spots. So it's possible, and if that happens and it's a team with a high enough pick, you could see this. But it's certainly going to be a lot of fun to track this over the next few months. It's going to give us a lot to talk about.
Look, Deion alone brings to the party so many things that no one else can, just based on who he is and how long he has been that. He is one of the most famous and beloved and revered and admired players that ever lived. And so that brings a cachet, even amongst today's young players who aren't old enough to have seen him play. I think it makes a difference.
Right, but what will make him an appealing head coach candidate, if he ends up being one, is the success he has had as a head coach at the college level in terms of the building up the programs that he's coached. That's the key.
But what I'm saying is I think he also brings credibility into a locker room with today's players that is not easy to achieve for someone who doesn't have NFL head coaching experience. Quickly, RC, your thoughts. Deion, Shedeur, you're hearing the whole conversation. What is your take?
Well, Dak messed up my theory that I had way back in the offseason where I said that Shedeur Sanders would get drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, who may pick high enough to get him. And I thought that Deion Sanders would be the head coach. It just seemed to fit for me. Jerry wants to sell tickets. Jerry wants to make big news, and that would have been big news along with getting an accomplished college football head coach and a very good football player at the quarterback position, who I think will be drafted first for the quarterbacks that are coming out of college this year. But I don't necessarily know what the feeling is about Deion in the NFL, and I don't know if teams are going to want him to be separate of his son, or if they would look at them as a package deal. But this is why Matt Rule got an opportunity in Carolina, because of what he had done at Temple, because of what he had done at Baylor. And Deion Sanders has shown you that he can take an organization or a university from nothing to something. Remember, 2 years ago, this Colorado team won one game. They're 7-2 now.
Oh, he's getting it done. Of that, there is no question. And again, he brings all of his being primetime to the NFL. Mike T, you and I talked about that pair going to Dallas as well. Let's just make it clear. With Dak's contract now, there's no way that happens in Dallas, right?
100% agree. We talked about this in August before Dak's extension. Now that, as RC just alluded to, because of his structure, there's 0% chance they're drafting a quarterback. Now, we can have a fun discussion about Ashton Gentry and all the other needs. So to me, like, as this gets closer to the end of the season, you have to split Shedeur and Deion, because there's really two different markets, two different dynamics at work here. But there's no chance that Dallas drafts a quarterback.